Welcome to Therapeutic Intentions Podcast. My name is Stephanie Dingbaum. I am a mental health therapist, and I am so passionate about all things health and wellness, personal development, and empowering others to be their most authentic and best versions of themselves. Here at Therapeutic Intentions, we are all about having intentional and authentic conversations on whole body health, healing practices, mindset, and ways to uplevel your life so you can truly be the best version of you. If you are a woman, a mom, hope to someday be a mom, a healer, or just in a place where you want to start prioritizing yourself and your health, then this podcast is for you. I am so glad you're here. If you're ready, let's get to it. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Therapeutic Intentions Podcast. I'm so excited for this collab that I'm sharing with you guys today. But before I share that with you, I just wanted to come on and give you a little bit of background information. So I'm sharing the collab with Kaitlyn Junk, who is this amazing homeopathic practitioner in the Wisconsin, northern Iowa area. But I wanted to share something that didn't get brought up in the collab itself that I learned from Kaitlyn when we had met prior to our recording that I just think is fascinating that I want everybody to know. So, like I said, she's a homeopathic practitioner, but what I learned from her that I think it's just vital that you guys know this, is that homeopathy is actually one of the first true modalities of healthcare that existed far before all of the hospitals, clinics, and pharmaceuticals that we have today. I think it's important to note that because this was around before any of Western medicine was around, and that says something right there. And then along those lines, I also wanted to share that homeopathy is actually a great alternative for individuals that are maybe transitioning off of over-the-counter medications or using it as like an adjunct for those that are on multiple prescriptions. Those are two big reasons why you may want to access homeopathy or a homeopathic practitioner. Those are things I didn't know prior to meeting Kaitlyn, and I think it's important to note. And it wasn't mentioned in the collab, so that's why I'm coming on here sharing that before I do the collab itself. I just think that's fascinating and helpful information for you to know. So I'll just start the collab and enjoy what Kaitlyn has to share. I have Kaitlyn here, and I'm going to let her introduce herself in just a little bit. I was so excited when I had the opportunity to meet her. So it was kind of like a synchronistic situation, the way I learned about Kaitlyn. Kaitlyn lives up in Prairie du Chien, Wisconsin, which from where I'm at, it's about an hour and a half away. My cousin actually lives up there. My cousin goes to Kaitlyn for services, and it's the first time my cousin brought her name and her business up to me was very early stages of the podcast, but I had this nudge, and I was like, this nudge was telling me, like, you have to have her on the podcast. And I was like, I've never even met this woman. She's going to think I'm so weird for just like reaching out to her out of nowhere. But I did. I answered that nudge. And Kaitlyn at first was a little resistant. And then I was like, ooh, was this the right thing? Should I not have reached out? But anyways, we met up having never met each other. And you guys, we just completely hit it off. She is my kind of a person. She's amazing. I have a feeling we're definitely going to stay connected from hereafter. And I definitely plan on accessing her services for sure. I'm excited to have her explain what she all does to you guys or for you guys. But yeah, this was just a complete happenstance how we came to know each other. And she's doing amazing things in the Prairie du Chien area. So yeah, I'm going to just give the mic over to her and let her introduce herself. So Kaitlyn, why don't you just go ahead and give an introduction for yourself?
All right. Well, hello, everyone. My name is Kaitlyn. Like Stephanie said, I'm up in the Prairie du Chien area. I am a mom. I am a business owner. I am running and wearing many hats right now. So I am the owner of Remedy Wellness. It is a holistic healthcare kind of wellness center. So my
You're
primary role with Remedy Wellness is actually the business owner, but I am taking on kind of the main role of the business where I'm offering homeopathic support, and I do some energy healing with emotion code therapy as well.
the homeopathic support is what initially caught my eye. I don't know of any people on this part of the country in our eastern Iowa area that do that. And so when I heard that from my cousin, I was like, that. I want to know more about that. So can you just kind of explain what that really means?
Yeah, so definitely, Stephanie, you're not alone. It's so homeopathy is not all that common in the United States. It is a method of medicine, treating people, kind of looking at their symptoms and kind of getting to the root cause of what's going on. But it's a practice where it's not using pharmaceuticals. It's not looking at, did you have a positive test for strep or pneumonia or something like that. It's all based on your symptoms. So it's unique to everybody on an individual level. Again, it doesn't matter what a test says you have or doesn't have. It's based on what symptoms you're experiencing. So homeopathy really got started over in Germany about 200 years ago. It's still big over in that area. Probably the country where it's most popular right now is India, and that's just it's like that's their main healthcare system there. I think everybody practices it there.
Love that.
But here in the United States, we are governed by Uncle Sam and everybody up there.
Yep.
So homeopathy isn't viewed as a credible or kind of anything. It's kind of looked at as like, it's nothing. It's a placebo effect. It doesn't have any place in our healthcare system.
That's sad to me, but you are exactly right.
It is, yeah. And there's been a lot of talk recently in the United States trying to remove certain remedies from the market, which is remedies are what homeopathy uses as like your medicine, if I want to use that in quotes there. But the remedies are just like these little sugar pellets that you take a couple, for whatever the symptom is, whatever kind of that main issue is. And there's no side effects. It's completely natural.
Like derived from the earth when you say natural?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
So there's there's a couple different ways that we can make remedies now. The homeopathic pharmacies that are in the United States and even in the UK as well, they have what they call a mother tincture, where it's like that's where they made it from, like that's the original property. And then there's a process of potentizing this to bring it down to different dilutions and different strengths. And then this liquid is put on these little milk sugar pellets, and that's how then it's distributed to the public.
That is fascinating. Cool. That's so cool. I've never heard it explained like that. That's amazing. Good to know.
Yeah.
So, would you go as far to say like these pellets or the remedies, the tinctures that you recommend to clients are really to attack like the root cause? It's not as much like we're not reacting or being reactive. We're trying to address what the underlying root cause is, or is it, am I understanding it correctly?
Yeah, it kind of works both ways actually. So if you were to come to me and say, I have a sinus infection or I have this really bad cold right now, like what can I do to help this? There are remedies where it's like, I can make recommendations for you to help in this moment right now. But then when you're kind of out of that acute stage of having that cold or having that sinus infection, and you come to me and you say, I have this all the time. It happens, all year long. It's a chronic thing. It happens over and over. That's when we can dive in a little bit deeper and look at it on a chronic state and figure out what is that root cause of why you're getting those sinus infections, or why does this keep happening to you? And a good example is like allergies. So naturally when we're born, we're not allergic to anything. We develop those allergies as we get exposed to things. And a lot of times it's there's ways to clear that. You don't have to suffer from allergies your entire life just because that's the way it is.
Yeah, it's normalized,
yep.
which doesn't mean it's okay.
Right. Yeah. So I've had people that have done the allergy shots. They've done the drops. They've taken the Claritins and the Zyrtex and all of that over-the-counter stuff. And it doesn't do anything. It puts a Band-Aid on it for a short period of time. And then when I can get my hands on people and talk to them and, really look back at when did those allergies start or when did those sinus infections start? What was going on in your life at that time? It's not just, okay, these are your symptoms of a sinus infection. So let's give you something to help you feel better. It's, what's your thirst level? How's your mental health? Are you someone who's really sad around that same kind of time you get the allergy, response or the sinus infection? That it's looking at everything that's going on with your body at that time that the issue started. So there is a way to look at it from kind of the acute stage, where you just kind of need something to help get you through and help this get through you faster. And there's also the other way of looking at it is really looking at that root cause of why it keeps happening. What is the main reason it's happening?
That's amazing. That's really cool to hear. I like that. Yeah. That's right in line with my own health journey. And it is interesting. I know you said it's not as widely known around here, but I guess in your area up in Wisconsin, do you feel like it's catching on or beginning stages still?
It's kind of a loaded question.
I bet it is.
So I took a leap of faith into homeopathy based off a friend making a recommendation. And it was kind of a funny story. So I want to say it's probably been 6 or 7 years ago now, but I got braces on and I went to a bridal shower and I was in so much pain. I just got the braces put on that morning. Oh. I go to this bridal shower and I can't eat. It hurts to smile. My whole mouth just feels like it's on fire and I just got punched in the face kind of feeling. And one of the guests that were there, I didn't really know her even at the time, but she comes up to me and she's like, what's going on? Why aren't you eating? Are you not enjoying your time? What's happening here right now? And so I kind of told her, I'm in my 30s and I decided to get braces. It was a terrible idea. But they're gone now and everything's fine now.
Yeah.
At the time, she's like, why don't you just try belladonna? And I know I gave her the look of you're a crazy person. What are you talking about?
Yeah. Come again.
So she happened to have some on her. So I took this little round pellet and probably within, I would say 15 minutes, I can I literally feel the pain is subsiding. The swelling is going down. I feel the sensation of all of it kind of leaving my mouth. So I went up to her and I was like, okay, what kind of voodoo magic did you just work on me? Because why is this helping? So that was my first experience with homeopathy.
Cool.
And I messaged her, added her on Facebook when I got home that night. And I messaged her, I'm like, I need to know what this is all about. And that's kind of where my journey started into homeopathy, because before that, I was working in the hospital. I was actually working as a respiratory therapist. And I was already kind of on the fence a little bit about questioning the whole system. And
sure.
I have my own opinions on the healthcare system now, but
absolutely.
I think at the time, I would say I was just a little I almost was in denial that the healthcare system wasn't this wonderful image that I had grown up thinking it was.
Yeah.
So as a respiratory therapist, I prided myself on being a patient advocate. So anytime I would go in to see a patient, I was talking with them, and really listening to them and hearing their concerns and kind of what was going on. And a lot of times I was doing breathing treatments for patients who have never had treatments before. They didn't know what they were kind of experiencing. So it was a lot of teaching and educating and stuff like that. But then I kind of got into this mindset of, talking to them on a deeper level. And then they started asking like, well, is this medicine going to interact with this other medicine I'm taking, or is that, all of this. So, I started asking patients about like, well, what medicines do you take? The medicine I'm going to give you has X, Y, and Z side effects, so then I was really paying attention to what medicines are they already taking? What side effects may they already be experiencing? And then what side effects from the medicine I'm giving them is going to make it worse. And after I kind of got onto this kick where I was doing this over and over and over. And I started realizing that patients have no idea, for the most part, why they're taking the medicines they're taking. Especially the older generation of patients, they just do whatever their doctor tells them to do. And that's okay to a certain degree, because that's how we were raised. That's
a norm.
Yeah. So, when just kind of talking with people and hearing, I'll never forget this one little old lady. She's like, I'm on 14 medicines and I don't even know why I'm taking them. So I was looking through her list of medicines, and so she happened to be in the hospital for low blood pressure. And I realized she was on 3 different medicines that had a side effect of lowering the blood pressure. So then it was like the medicine I'm giving her, a side effect of albuterol, which is a very common respiratory kind of medicine that's given in the hospital setting, it can raise your blood pressure a little bit. It increases your heart rate a little bit. And so she actually had no respiratory issues. We were actually prescribed, like we were giving her the albuterol nebulizer to increase kind of for that side effect purpose. It wasn't even for the purpose of treating any kind of breathing issue. It was for the cardiac side effects.
Wow.
So talking to the doctor, I was like, hey, wait a second here. Why are we doing this? Why is she on 3 medicines that are lowering her blood pressure, but now we're putting, adding on another medication to do the opposite? And I started noticing that more and more with people, is they were taking medicines because of a side effect of another medicine. And then they were prescribed another medicine for the side effect of that one. And that's how it just compounds. I've seen it time and time again. And it's
so have I. It is, Kaitlyn. I agree. Literally, it's funny you bring this up, because literally just yesterday I was on the phone, spur of the moment phone call from a client who saw a psychiatrist. Long story short, her previous doctor, which was not her primary care doctor, because around here, like, you just can't always get into them the day of, obviously, put her on a medication for anxiety. That medication caused insomnia. So then she was put on a medication for the insomnia, and then that caused a side effect. And it's like, what are you doing? Do you not see the domino effect that you are causing for people? Stop with this cycle. It's ugly to me.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. I agree. I appreciate you sharing that.
And we can go down the whole rabbit hole of how pharmacies just eat it up, because they're like, yes, more money from the insurance companies.
Oh yeah. I agree. Big pharma. Yep. They run our world. I agree. Yeah. We can do a whole nother episode on that down the road for sure. I'm not against it, I should say. Well, that's interesting. So your experience as a respiratory therapist definitely was kind of the catalyst for getting into this arena.
So based on my experience, with respiratory therapy, I got really burnt out, and I was like, I love my patients. I love my job, but this is so just mentally exhausting for me that I can't keep doing this. So I kind of did I did a 180. I quit healthcare, went into a teaching job. But I kind of knew it was just a stepping stone. It wasn't my end game. I knew that's not what I wanted. I have 3 degrees in healthcare. I knew somehow, some way it was going to end back up. I was going to end back up into healthcare.
Yeah.
So kind of took a chill pill for a little bit, went into teaching, and that's kind of when that friend came about. I tried the belladonna, the whole braces story came about. And then I was like, well, I'm working from home. Yes, I have a full-time teaching job, but I'm working from home. So let's learn a little bit more about homeopathy. And I took a couple, I call them pop-up courses. It's kind of like work at your own pace. They're like $20 to $25 on the internet, like just to kind of get a basic brief understanding of stuff. I did one class on homeopathy for dogs, because I have 2 dogs at home. So I'm like, okay, just curious. How can this work?
Right.
And then I did another one. It was called Mommy and Me. And my kids are older. They were older at the time, but it's still good information for parents.
Absolutely.
And after both of those classes, it was like this light bulb moment I had that I'm like, okay, if this can work for humans and the exact same remedies can work for animals, how can I leverage this? Like this is perfect. If I can leave the healthcare system, but still have a healthcare foundation, like what can I do? And that's when I started looking around for schools. I knew I didn't want to get back into like a college setting. I needed to be able to do something where it was a little bit more work at your own pace. And I tried one school. I got a certificate in acute homeotherapeutics. It's a little bit of a mouthful.
Cool.
And then after that, I switched up the schools just for financial reasons. It got a little bit too expensive to pay out of pocket. So then the school that I found is actually, it's called Lotus Wellness Institute.
I love that.
Or Lotus Health Institute. It goes by a couple different names. But it's actually founded by someone called Robin Murphy, who has been in the homeopathic world for a while. He has since passed away, but all of the classes are recordings and lectures and stuff like that. But I started with this school, and it has been an absolute dream. I love the lectures and listening to kind of his viewpoint, and he's such a major person in the homeopathic world that it's like, okay, he's not living anymore, but I can still hear his voice and like hear his passion and kind of learn under one of the greats. So
that's amazing. Very cool.
Have you ever taken a medication that didn't come with a side effect or two? Yeah, me neither. In year 2 of my fertility journey, I got fed up with the medications that were being recommended for me because they all seemed to come with their fair share of side effects on both my physical and mental health. I then decided to take my health into my own hands, and I set up an intake with an integrative health practitioner. I wanted someone who could help me get to the underlying root cause of everything. I refused to accept the diagnosis of infertility because I knew there was something more going on than what the Western medicine practitioners were catching. Switching my healthcare to the integrative health world was actually the best decision I ever made in the 6 years that we've been going through our own fertility journey. I finally felt I had more control over my health choices, and I felt like I was actually being listened to and heard more. The integrative health world then opened my eyes to Earthly Wellness, which is a company that believes individuals should be empowered to make their own informed health choices. Earthly Wellness is such an amazing company in my mind. They produce herbal remedies and body care products that support health naturally. This meant finally no side effects. Products with actual clean, non-toxic ingredients that won't harm my body or cause other symptoms to flare up. Products that have ingredients in them that I actually recognize and I can pronounce too. At first, I just tried their Good Night Lotion and Immune Aid vitamin C capsules. Then I eventually got into using 1 or 2 of their tinctures that they offer as well. I have had a good experience with literally every single product that I've ever tried from Earthly. They make me feel great, and they've been extremely beneficial for me through this fertility journey. I'm not the only person that speaks highly of Earthly either. Listen to these testimonials from other individuals who have seen success from using Earthly's products. One says, "My sleep has improved a ton since using the gut health oil from Earthly. I started using it at the beginning of April, and almost 2 months later, my sleep has sustained." Another one says, my menstrual cycle has been off for years and the only supplement I've added has been the gut health oil. And since starting that, my menstrual cycle has been more regular. Amazing testimonies, you guys. If you're looking for a natural, non-toxic product that can benefit both your physical and your mental health, look no further because Earthly is a trusted company that can truly support your health needs. Earthly has a variety of products for all ages as well. Besides body care products and herbal remedies, they also carry vitamins, minerals, cleaning products, baby products, and skincare products. It's truly a one-stop shop. So, if you're looking for clean and safe products to use around the home, on yourself, as well as for your kids, go to the link in my show notes and see what Earthly has to offer. I wouldn't be recommending a company that I myself didn't strongly support and believe in personally. Another great benefit about Earthly is their prices are affordable as well. People often complain that the downside of seeing an integrative health practitioner is that you have to pay for those services out of pocket. My pushback to that is you could be spending that money on Western medicine procedures, medication, more medication to fix the side effects from the initial medication, doctor's visits, etc. You have to look at your health like it's an investment. And all of these things are a part of that investment. So you're spending less in the long run, really. Another amazing benefit of ordering through Earthly is that all of their products are completely clean and non-toxic, which means they have absolutely no parabens, no phthalates, no fragrance, no preservatives, no allergens such as corn, soy, gluten, dairy, or nuts, no junk at all, you guys. And if you are like me and you're trying to rid your home of toxic products, then Earthly is your go-to place to shop. In today's world, our society normalizes living with certain symptoms, and I just think it's ridiculous. It does not have to be normal to deal with overactive thyroids. It doesn't have to be normal to deal with unbalanced hormones. It doesn't have to be normal to have heavy and painful periods. It doesn't have to be normal to deal with daily bloating. These are all symptoms, and there is an underlying root cause to all of it. Earthly has products to support not only those symptoms, but also the root cause of it all. Be honest, wouldn't you love to kick one or two symptoms that you deal with daily? As a mental health therapist in a small rural county in eastern Iowa, I recommend Earthly products constantly to clients. I always suggest trying something holistic before using medication or something that the body can become addicted to. That way you don't have to worry about experiencing any side effects as a result of using that product. If what you're hearing resonates with you and you want to try out an Earthly product for yourself, go into my show notes for today's podcast episode. I will have my affiliate marketing link in the notes for you. Also, for a limited time, if you're a first-time user of Earthly products, you can get a discount using code, all caps, Choose Natural to get a 10% discount off your order. Again, the code is Choose Natural in all caps. If you are a returning customer of Earthly's and you would also like a discount, I'm offering for a limited time only the code COMEBACK to also get a 10% discount off your order. Again, that code in all caps is COMEBACK, COMEBACK. Improve your sleep today, you guys, and feel better mentally, physically, and emotionally. Seriously, consider making Earthly Wellness a part of your health journey today. All links will be in my show notes for today's episode.
Wow. So you're still working, like for Remedy Wellness, you're still working from home. Your services are all out of your home, correct? Your business?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I'm working my business, Remedy Wellness. I'm working it as full-time, but
Awesome.
I do have a full-time job teaching still.
Yeah, you're busy.
I am. I wear multiple hats. So
Yeah.
like I said in the beginning, I'm not just a business owner, but I have a few titles.
So besides your homeopathic services, what other services does Remedy Wellness offer?
I offer quite a few. So I offer both the acute and chronic consultations for homeopathy. So again, whether it's like that, I have a sinus infection and I need something to fix me today, or it's I have this long-standing issue, we can tackle both of those. I also do emotion code therapy, which is an energy-based releasing of trapped emotions. It ties really, really well into like the whole mental health sphere of things.
It sounds like it.
But especially patients with like anxiety and depression, I can kind of leverage like, yes, this is how homeopathy can help you, but I also have this emotion code that is like an extra benefit for you too.
That's amazing.
So then I also have an infrared sauna with Himalayan salt blocks and stuff in it. So you get the salt therapy. And
Cool.
I also do ionic foot baths. And
Nice.
then one of the more recent services I added is a infrared mat sound bed. So it's like a vibrational bed. It has different frequencies on it through the music that it's playing, but then it also has the infrared heat on top of it. So you're kind of getting that sauna effect plus the frequency vibrations.
That's what I'm most intrigued by.
I would have to say, it's the end of June, so it's definitely warm here. So I'm not using the sauna as much, but the sound bed and that infrared mat, it still gets used quite a bit.
I bet. I love that. Sound is one of the most powerful forms of healing. So the fact that you offer these other holistic healing services alongside your homeopathic services, I just think like that just works perfect. They really complement each other really well, it seems. So
yeah, and it gets overwhelming at times because I'm like, okay, I'm one person and I'm offering all of these services, but it's nice at the same time where it's not like you're going to the doctor, you're talking to the doctor, and then you have to go see someone else in physical therapy. Then you have to go see someone else in lab, and you have to go see someone else in this department. It's like, yeah, I'm not the same as a doctor. I'm not a traditional healthcare setting.
Right.
But you have me, and you don't have to worry about talking to all of these different people if you don't want to.
I agree. Because sometimes I feel like when you're seeing multiple practitioners, I always worry, like, you're all working in silos, and that is not helpful for my health needs at all. So I actually think that's to your benefit that you're there for all of those services. And that's awesome. I love that. Okay, so switching gears a little bit, you talked about your own professional endeavors and how that kind of steered you into this direction, being interested in homeopathy. But I'm just curious, like in your own personal life, whether it be with your own health journey or your family or things like that, is there any of that impacted your decision to switch gears and get kind of out of the Western medicine world?
Yeah. So we're going to get quite personal here.
Yeah, let's do it.
So I was oblivious to kind of like the side effects and the toxicities of pharmaceuticals. So I was actually put on the birth control pill at a very, very young age, shortly after starting like my menstrual cycle and everything. And it was simply because I had a rough period, basically.
Yeah, I can relate.
And of course, looking back on that, it's like, okay, it was cramps. Like, why would somebody give an 11-year-old birth control? Like, that's pretty crazy. But going through, I got pregnant at 20. So I was on birth control for about 10 years or so. I had my son premature, and they told me, never really gave me a reason why. My water just spontaneously broke, and he ended up in the NICU for about a month before coming home. So they just kind of deemed me, you're high risk. If you ever get pregnant again, like you need to see a special doctor and all that. And I didn't really think anything of it. After I had my son, went back on birth control, and my husband and I then started trying for our daughter that we have now. And looking back, maybe I just don't remember all of the details that were talked about, but they wanted me to start taking progesterone injections. So for 16 weeks, I was injecting progesterone.
Kind of like they do for IVF, I imagine. I imagine it's similar.
Yep.
Gotcha.
And it was awful. I remember, so I would put it into like my thigh, and I remember if I would forget which leg I was doing it on that week and I did it in the same leg twice, my knee would just collapse randomly. Like I couldn't walk for periods of time.
Wow.
So again, at the time I was like, okay, this is what I have to do. I'm pregnant and I have to have a healthy baby because that's the expectation. So I went into labor with my daughter at 38 weeks. So I'm like, okay, we went from
better than the other
to 38. So
yeah. Right. That's a win.
Yeah. And then after I had her, went on birth control again. And my husband and I at the time, we were like, we know we're good. Like we have our boy, we have our girl. We're not going to have any more kids. So I kind of wrote out birth control pills for a while. I'm like, it's not what I want. Like, I don't want to have to keep taking a pill every day. So I saw my doctor and she's like, well, if you know you don't want to have any more kids, you have your boy, you have your girl. If you're good, there's a couple different procedures you can do. You could do, and I wasn't a candidate for getting my tubes tied.
Okay.
I don't remember now why I wasn't a candidate, but they just told me I couldn't do it. So my options were having my tubes completely removed or having a total hysterectomy.
Wow. Those were the only two options they gave you.
Yep. Those were the only two options.
Okay. Wow.
Or staying on the pill. So I guess I had 3 options.
Yeah.
So I didn't, my fear was if I have a total hysterectomy, I'm going to go into menopause. I'm 29 years old and that's not okay. I don't want to do that.
I don't blame you.
I opted for having my tubes removed because they said there's no side effects of this. You're still going to get a period, but you can't get pregnant. You're going to be good to go. You won't go into early menopause or anything like that. So I went ahead and had the surgery at 29 and everything was fine for, I would say probably 1.5 to 2 years. And then I started having some interesting symptoms where I'm like, hey, I don't think I'm supposed to be having hot flashes at 31 years old.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah. And that's, even to this day, that's probably still my biggest menopause, I'll call it, symptom. But as the years have gone on, I'm having more and more menopausal symptoms.
Wow.
And even now, I'm 34 years old, and it's like, this isn't normal. This isn't normal.
Yeah, you're a year older than me, and I cannot imagine. I cannot imagine.
Yeah. So, like, this time of my life when most people are, like, just starting a family or, like, they're kind of in the thick of having kids or whatever.
Yep.
It's like, I'm on my way out.
Wow.
But I started doing research. Like, after I figured out what homeopathy was and I was taking a few classes, I'm like, I wonder what really did that surgery kind of speed up or push forward. And I found out completely I was lied to. Anytime you mess with your reproductive system, it's triggering your body to react. And it is not at all uncommon to start entering early menopause, that state. If you have your tubes removed or if you have any kind of procedure, that's a very common side effect. And so I definitely felt betrayed for a long time. And that, I would say that was probably really it was really my, like, I don't think I can trust the healthcare system anymore.
Sure.
They have their place,
they serve a purpose
and surgeries and stuff like that. But I felt so betrayed and so in the dark about so many different things that I just lost my trust in them.
You're not alone.
Yeah. So now I'm kind of in this weird state of balancing what hormones I have, trying to balance out and have a regular cycle when I do have a cycle. But also the biggest thing that I'm trying to do right now is detox all of the years of birth control that I had. I didn't know it at the time. Again, what 11-year-old thinks about what kind of side effects is this pill going to give me?
Right.
But yeah, the birth control pill comes with an incredible amount of such toxic side effects that most people don't think about because it's such a common thing. And I even remember in high school, girls were like, well, if you don't have a birth control pill, like you're the weird one, or like you're the not cool one. And it's so crazy. And I think about my daughter right now. She's only 9, so I have some time before I have to think about her growing up and getting to that stage. But I don't think I can ever be an advocate for pharmaceutical birth control.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I don't blame you. And I think it's sad how we've normalized girls being put on birth control for things like heavy periods, heavy cramping. Like that is not normal. The heavy periods, the heavy cramping is a symptom. And so the birth control is a Band-Aid fix. And instead of just putting a Band-Aid on the symptom, why can we not just test their hormones and figure out like, okay, well, what hormone is potentially deficient, or, you know what I mean? Like, let's look at that. Let's do a hormone panel and figure out, do we need to have them make some lifestyle changes or remove some environmental toxins or something? You know what I mean? Like everything that the integrative health world does pretty much, but it's sad to me that we normalize those things. And now look at the world and look at the percentages for fertility, infertility issues in our world. Like that's the real pandemic is that, in my opinion, but I digress.
One thing I'm kind of researching. I'm going to be writing a paper, but I need to do more research on it first. But I really want to look at the effects of birth control over, a period of time or years of use. And then the outcomes of infertility or unsuccessful pregnancies or early rupture of membrane, like all of that kind of thing is I want to look at that connection and I want to learn more about it because homeopathy plays a huge role in infertility and just healthy pregnancy in general. But like one of the detoxes I'm using to kind of get the whole birth control toxicity out of me is actually still one of like a number one remedy to be given to young girls that have painful periods and like the cramps and the heavy bleeding and stuff like that. So it's like, and that's what I love about homeopathy is it can work. One remedy can work in so many different ways. It's just dependent upon the person.
That's amazing. So you mentioned doing multiple like different detoxes. So besides just the remedy, I know even like the salt therapy can be a way of detoxing, correct?
Yeah.
So what other like detoxes would you recommend obviously it depends on their situation and why they're coming to you, but what other detoxes would you recommend for patients?
So one detox that I recommend it to everybody, honestly, whether they're male or female or has anything to do with a menstrual cycle. And I shouldn't say I only recommend it to people in the Midwest because it's everywhere, but I'm a huge proponent of do a heavy metal detox. And whether it's a homeopathic protocol of that detox or there's a couple different protocols out there on the internet where you can buy like sprays and drops and stuff like that you can use. I don't care what you choose, just do something because we are littered with heavy metals in our bodies. And that's why we're seeing more and more neurological issues in kind of the baby boomer generation.
Interesting.
That's another rabbit hole I could go down.
Absolutely. No, I know. I'm here for it. I find all of that so fascinating.
But if there was one detox that I would say I think everybody should do, it would definitely be a heavy metal detox. And that actually is a really good place. If you have chronic issues, start with that detox and see what symptoms disappear just from that. Because if we can get rid of that, that's letting me know as a homeopath, like, where is your root cause? Like, what is that root cause? Where is your root layer to figure out what your true symptoms actually are?
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. And I know you mentioned this when we met up prior to recording today, but you really try, like you really pride yourself on the fact that you try to make your services affordable for people. Like you want people to be able to access this and you don't want finances to get in the way of that. Is that correct?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
when I kind of started my business, I was in that world of how do you offer services but not go broke at the same time.
Right.
And me having my full-time teaching job still, that also helps me kind of fall into this. I don't need to charge very much money because I can pay my bills. I'm not
Sure.
I'm not running my business to get rich quick kind of thing.
Sure.
So really looking at like my homeopathic services, from what I can compare to like other practitioners that I can look on their website and see things, but most consultations for practitioners are multiple hundreds of dollars. And you might get one meeting with them and they'll tell you what their recommendation is. And then it's up to you to follow through with that.
Right.
But all of that money is being spent on like a 1 hour tops phone call kind of thing. Or if you have someone local, meeting them in person.
Sure.
I kind of go the opposite direction. If going back again, kind of like if you were to come to me for a sinus infection, I'm going to give you as much time as you possibly need to talk to me. We're going to talk through your symptoms. You know, did your thirst change? Did your bowel habits change? Is your hunger any different? We're going to look at like the whole person symptomatology. I'm going to give you my recommendation, but then you can call me and text me as much as you want for the next week.
Awesome. Awesome.
And I don't know any doctor that you can reach out to any time or day, call, text, message on the internet, you know, whatever. You don't get to do that for a week after talking to them.
Right. But what I found is every integrative health practitioner that I have worked with has been the exact same way. Like, you're paying, you know, anywhere from $100 or $300 for the face-to-face sessions, but the added benefit is that I can either Vox you or text you or message you and ask you questions between our actual meetups. And yeah, you don't get that. And so that within itself is worth the fact that I'm paying out of pocket for their services, in my opinion, because you're still getting, you're not getting that 15 minutes with them like you do with a primary care provider. Right. And they're actually giving you an hour, sometimes an hour and a half, sometimes 2 hours, depending on the practitioner, of their time. And I personally feel you can't put a price tag on that. I mean, because what I know you pay for Western medicine procedures and medication and all of that, I would gladly pay a couple $100 out of pocket if it means we're being more preventative and proactive about my health. So I don't have to put medications into my body. So I don't have to go to the doctor as often. Like, right. That's just the way I look at it. And I think more people should look at it like that, but I get it. It's easy for me to say with my journey, but that's how I feel.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So the remedies, the tinctures, things like that you offer, I mean, pretty affordable, would you say, or?
So right now I have a tremendous stockpile of remedies
on
hand. So wow. I don't put any charge on the remedies. If you want to go out and buy it yourself, you absolutely can do that. There's a couple pharmacies that, you know, I'll give clients like the link to, and I'll give them like the direct link to the remedy that I'm recommending for them to take.
Cool.
But actually, Amazon isn't a terrible option either. It's not my first choice.
Sure.
But really, if all else fails, I offer to mail people the remedy because, especially if you don't know anything about homeopathy, I want to set you up and be as confident as you can be, kind of going through the journey of things. So I want to be able to offer it to you without any extra stress of like, I have to order it and then I have to wait for it to arrive. And is there shipping and the cost differences and stuff like that? So, so I always offer, if it's a remedy that I have on hand, I'll ship it out to you, just, you know, help cover the shipping kind of thing. But I'm not going to leave you in the dark and say, go figure this out on your own and find it wherever you want to find it.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's really awesome that you offer that. There needs to be more like you. That's what it comes down to. We need more Kaitlyns. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool. You know, early on, you mentioned like you wear so many hats, you're doing all the things, you're running a full-time business, you're teaching, you're a mom of two wonderful kids. How, like, I'm all about, if you've listened to any of my episodes, like, I am all about work-life balance. I try to preach it, I try to practice it in my own life. Some days are better than others. But how do you find, how are you intentional about work-life balance, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
It is hard. It is
Yeah.
so hard. Yeah. And it's actually kind of funny that we're doing the recording this week because this was the week that my husband decided, let's paint the house and like do some
Okay.
things with the house. I'm like, I have a very busy schedule right now.
Yeah, okay.
So yeah, this week it's probably not the best example.
Well, you're only human, so it's good for listeners to know you're not a robot.
Right. Yeah, no, not a robot, not at all. I take advantage of like, okay, I don't have to do anything for the next 10 minutes. I'm going to play a game on my phone.
Yes. Okay.
I need a break.
Yep. Absolutely.
One thing, so with starting my business, I wanted to be that person like always available.
Yeah.
And because I didn't want to be like a doctor where you can only go see your doctor from 8 to 5. And otherwise you have to go to the emergency room. Like I didn't want that persona. So
oh my gosh.
I'm available
Yes.
24/7.
Literally. Okay. Yeah. Sidebar. So before I even reached out to Kaitlyn, I went onto her website because I was super intrigued. There are no homeopathic practitioners that I know of in our like Tri-County area. And yeah, on your website, when it said for availability, yeah, it was literally 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You guys, I called my cousin who lives up in Prairie du Chien, and I was like, Heather, do you know this woman? Like, how is she maintaining a business doing this? This is not realistic. There's no way she can be available that much. And Heather just laughed. And yeah, I'll let you finish your story, but I remember seeing that and being like, there's no way.
So yeah, I was that crazy person at first because I didn't like, I had this idea of somebody's going to call me, like there's going to be an issue at like midnight and I'm not available because I'm closed kind of thing. And then they're going to be mad and they're going to go find someone else.
Sure. But that's just pointing out, like, that's more of that scarcity mindset, which we all, I feel, have in the beginning. So I get that.
Yeah. Like I didn't want like a bad review. Well, she's not available. So I went somewhere else kind of thing. So definitely it was me getting into my own head of I have to be available for everybody at any time of the day. I quickly realized, yes, my website said at one point, like 24/7, you can call me, you can message me, I'm available for you. But it really was not like that. Obviously, starting a business from scratch, nobody knows what homeopathy is.
Yeah.
When I first started, I didn't have all the services I have now. So I wasn't busy. I'll definitely admit that. Like if I had one client a week or like one phone call a week, I was doing good.
Yeah.
So, yep, it said 24/7, but really I was working for like an hour.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
But then as I started growing services and expanding like what I was offering and stuff like that, I realized I just mentally, I can't be the best mom, the best wife. I can't be the best teacher, instructor that I can be. I can't be the best business owner. Like I can't wear all of these hats in a full-time mode as one person. It's just not realistic. And I wouldn't say I ever felt like I was getting burnt out because definitely running my business, I'm always like energized and motivated and I'm just so passionate about it that it doesn't feel like work.
I agree.
But I think that's also a trap because it doesn't feel like work. It's like I can work for another half hour. It'll be fine. Or I'll stay up till midnight. It'll be okay.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Oh my gosh. I get it. Yeah.
So I decided to make the change. I started listing like, okay, I'm going to be available like 8 to 5, or I'm not even sure what my website says now.
Yeah.
But I also am super flexible about it. If somebody calls and says, I work till 6 o'clock, can I meet with you after that? Yeah, I can make that work. but I'm just not going to advertise that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So my biggest thing right now, so right now I'm actually finishing my summer break from my teaching job on Monday.
Okay.
I have a class that starts up. So next week is going to be like the true test of teaching, being a business owner, being a mom, being a wife, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
But what I have found what really works best for me is being intentional about my time and not staying up till midnight because I just want to read a couple more pages, or I just want to listen to one more lecture or anything like that. I live by my schedule book, which is sitting right next to me right now. And it's, Mondays and Wednesdays, this is not true to the week kind of thing, but like Monday, Wednesday, I'm going to work on my teaching job. Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, I'm going to work on remedy wellness stuff and like working with clients and all that. And then Saturday and Sunday, nothing. Like I'm going to be unavailable because I do want to have that intentional time as a mom and as a wife too, to be with my family. And my kids right now, they're 9 and 14. So they're at the ages of, they're kind of going off and doing their own thing. So what little bit of time we can still kind of go out on the river, or I guess everything's flooding now. So we're not.
Yeah, I was going to say, not right now.
But, just having those moments where it's like, we want to hang out as a family. We have to take advantage of that. So
love it. That's a perfect answer. And here at Therapeutic Intentions, we're all about intentionality. So perfect. I love that. I would say I'm trying to do the same thing. So
it's hard.
Understand.
It is so hard.
It is. And you're right. Like, I love the podcast stuff. So it is not a ridiculous concept for me to stay up editing until midnight because I'm loving it.
Yeah.
But it's work. So yeah, I'm learning as I go, I would say.
My husband was kind of teasing me the other day because he's like, it's 10 o'clock. Why are you getting ready for bed? I'm like, because if I don't go to bed now, I'm going to sleep in tomorrow morning and then it's going to ruin my whole day. Like, I have to be really structured. And I would never say I was like, I don't think I'm a type A personality. I like to be flexible and just kind of go with the flow. But when it comes to managing my time, it's like, that's the one thing I really have to be looking out for my mental health on, because I know how I felt working as a respiratory therapist in that burnout. And that is the worst feeling anybody can feel. And I don't ever want to relive that. I don't want to feel that ever again. So
I agree. Burnout is just one of the worst feelings. Yeah, I agree with you on that. One other little question that I thought of as you were talking. So from the time you started Remedy Wellness as like a homeopathic practitioner to, now Remedy is like, you have these other holistic services, you have the salt therapy, the sound bath. How long of a journey was that from like starting it to having the multiple services that you now offer? I'm just curious because I don't think I ever asked you that.
I officially started my business in July of 22. But I didn't really, that was just kind of like the paperwork, like let's file with the state of Wisconsin kind of thing.
Yep.
I really started like kicking things off with the business in, I want to say October of 2022. So it hasn't even been 2 years yet.
Well, that's interesting. No, that's good to know though. And it's really interesting to me because I've been telling people lately, I have shiny object syndrome because it's like, I now feel established. I'm full now with my practice, and I want to get certified in hypnotherapy, and I want to be able to offer also sound healing. And there's so many other things, and obviously the podcast. And it's like, everyone's like, slow down, like you have time. But yes, I have time, but like, I'm just so excited because I've seen how healing has impacted my own life that I'm so excited. I want to be able to offer it like tomorrow, Right. So it's interesting to hear, like, cause you do have these multiple modalities of healing that you offer. So it's just good to know from one business owner to another, like how long that journey was to only having the homeopathic services to now having these multiple modalities. It's just good to know that.
Yeah, I would definitely say I suffered from shiny object syndrome when I started.
Yeah, it's so hard. There's so many exciting and fun holistic practices out there that people don't know about.
Right.
So Yeah.
And I would say like some of my services, like the sauna, especially, a lot of people are putting saunas in their own home now.
True.
There's a few businesses in Prairie, where kind of local to where I am, that have their own sauna. So it's like, I didn't do it to compete with anybody.
Right.
Truthfully, the reason we bought the sauna was for me and my husband's benefit. And then as it's sitting, like the way I kind of have my office set up here in my home is they have to walk, like clients would have to walk past the sauna to come to my office. Well, we started thinking about it. We're like, if it's just sitting here, why are we not offering that to people too? Like if they're going to be coming up here anyways, why not offer it?
Genius.
So yeah, the sauna was kind of like an accidental add-on service.
Sure. Yeah, I get that. Yeah.
But
that's awesome.
So
Very
I would
cool.
say if you just really trust your gut, if you feel like you got to take that leap and start the sound therapy or do the hypnotherapy, you got to do it.
Yeah, that's perfect advice. No, that is great advice because everything right now with the business feels so aligned for me. So yeah, I'm not going to add something or go down a path for something with the business unless it feels right and aligned and has a good ROI for not just the business, but my clients as well. So that's good advice. So before we wrap things up, is there anything, like any upcoming events, opportunities, anything with the business in the near future that you need or want to share with listeners?
Right now, kind of my next stepping stone is branching out and getting out of my house.
Wow.
I've been kind of eyeing up a few different places.
Okay.
My dream for Remedy Wellness is not just me being the sole practitioner and having all of these services. I really want a true wellness center, a true holistic, full person experience.
Yeah.
So I want to bring on, like, I want to have, I don't even know how to explain this.
I get it. I've had similar.
I want to have this place, this building. And yes, I want to have my own room and have the sauna and the foot bath and do my homeopathic practice and all that stuff. But I also want to bring on an herbalist. I want to have a massage therapist. I want to have a sound healer. Kind of like what you were saying. Like, I want to have all of these services available to anyone who walks in the front door, because I don't want them to feel like that healthcare system where you have to go to this place to see your doctor and this place to see the therapist and this place to pick up your prescription. I want them to be able to walk in the door and everybody that they might want to kind of work with or talk with is going to be right there and available for them.
I love that.
And not, you kind of had mentioned it earlier, like that silo effect too, where nobody talks to each other. I want it to be like a full spectrum thing for anybody who came in. And if you worked with me and the massage therapist and an acupuncturist, like the three of us are going to talk to really make sure we're getting, we're treating you the way you need to be treated and getting, whatever results you want. We're all working together on the same page. And I want it to be a team experience instead of you do your thing and I'll do my thing and hopefully the patient's okay with it.
Yeah, I love that. That's such a beautiful vision and it's a need. I mean, for Prairie, that would definitely get used, I feel like.
Yeah.
I mean, there's definitely a need for that. And I love that you mentioned acupuncturist because I do acupuncture monthly and I have heard it's like a dying art, which just breaks my heart. Like we need more acupuncturists in our rural parts of the country. That is such a powerful practice. It has been huge in my healing journey and I don't think I'll ever stop. Like I'm addicted and I love it. So I just think like we need to get more acupuncturists. We need to get more young people interested in these holistic world services. Like we need more of that. So I love that vision. That's beautiful. Well, thank you for sharing that. Before we completely wrap things up, I like to end all of my collabs with some rapid fire questions.
All right.
So the first one is, what is a book that you are currently reading?
So I actually have it sitting right here in front of me. It just came in the mail yesterday. It's called Flourishing Against the Odds. And it's basically the modern take on how homeopathy is changing to adapt to kind of modern world. So kind of post-pandemic, post-COVID, obviously there's a big talk right now about like vaccine reactions. So there's a lot of talk in here about vaccines and all that. And I've read the first page. I will admit to that. I've read page 1, but have not made it too far past that. But that's on my list right now.
That's fascinating. That could, after you read that book, that could make for a really good collab. Just saying. That sounds really interesting. I love it. I'll definitely put the link for it in the show notes too. Okay, next question is, what is one thing that you can't live without besides your phone?
Probably my water bottle. It goes everywhere with me.
Yep, I can relate. Yep. Do you put lemon in your water?
I don't do lemon. I'm not a big fan. I'd rather just have plain water, or I do a water flavoring that's not exactly the healthiest, but it's got some caffeine in it that gets me through.
Yeah, I understand that. Yeah. At least it's water though. I mean, at the end of the day, we all need to be drinking more water. So,
right.
What is your current go-to podcast if you're listening to one?
I'm going to blame this one on my husband. We just got back from, we took a little vacation down to Tulsa, Oklahoma, and the whole way down there and the whole way back, we have been listening to the Joe Rogan podcast and a comedy podcast called Kill Tony, which is not for the faint of heart. So
love it.
Tread lightly with that one, but the Joe Rogan experience is definitely one that for a while it's an easy one to get caught up in. It's super long episodes, which is sometimes
I've heard that.
Most convenient, but he has some amazing people on there that it's fascinating to listen to.
I've heard that from multiple entrepreneurs and practitioners, and I have not given it a chance, but I feel like I need to. So many people mention him, so I love that. All right. What is one song that whenever it comes on, you have to sing along to it?
It is probably, it's called Wildflowers and Wild Horses by Lainey Wilson. I will not say I know the words to the song, but I can hum it when it's on the radio.
Like it's catchy and Yep.
Love
it. And the last one that I have for you is, what's just your favorite way to relax after a long day?
Honestly, just sitting down on the couch and kind of like being in my own headspace, just kind of being alone, decompressing everything that's happened throughout the day and just having time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Good answers. Awesome. Well, Kaitlyn, I so appreciate you coming on here. I appreciate that you gave this a chance. I appreciate that you went outside of your comfort zone a little bit. I have no doubt that this is going to be so good for you and your business. And I'm just so excited for what you do. And full transparency, I'm going to be accessing your services. So decision was made up when we met face-to-face prior to recording, but it's a need, and we need, like I said, we need more of you in our rural parts of the country. I feel I'm so passionate about what you do. I find it fascinating, and we need more people that aren't just looking at Band-Aid fixes anymore. So I love that. I love what you do. And I really appreciate you being willing to share your story and be personal. And that's not easy for everybody, but I think my listeners need to hear that stuff more. So thank you so much for agreeing to come on. What are some ways, if people are interested in reaching out to you or hearing more from you or asking you questions, what are ways people can reach out to you?
Yeah, so I am mostly, my social media presence isn't the greatest, but I'm most present on Facebook. You can find me at Remedy Wellness. It is a little tricky to look up, though, I'll be totally honest with you, but I will make sure to give you like the link and everything, so then you can put it in the description. But I'm also on Instagram. Stephanie has tagged me a few times. I am not good at Instagram.
It's all good.
But you can also find me. I have a website. It is remedywellness.us.
Awesome. And I'll make sure to link all of those in the show notes. That's really helpful. Yeah. And so for listeners, if this is something that you're just completely intrigued by, want to know more about, the good thing about Kaitlyn and her business and the services that she offers, or well, I should say the homeopathic services that she offers, is you don't have to live in the Wisconsin Prairie du Chien area to access them. You can literally access her services virtually from anywhere in the country, probably. Anywhere in the world.
Yeah, I have a client right now in London, so
there you go. So it doesn't matter. Love it. Yes. And so what I don't want my listeners to think is, well, that's Wisconsin, we can't access her. Just know you can do virtual sessions, things can be shipped, remedies, tinctures, you name it. So this is really for anybody who is intrigued. You don't need to be local to the Eastern Iowa or Wisconsin area. Again, if this is something that you're like, I need this in my life, reach out to her, ask her questions, set up an appointment with her. I really don't think you will regret it. I mean, like I said before, I'm going to be doing it, and I don't recommend things that I don't try. So that's why I'm like, I need to try this for myself. So definitely reach out to her if you have any questions or if you're interested in her services. But again, Kaitlyn, thank you so much for agreeing to this today. I'm just so excited to share all of this with my listeners. So until next time, guys, we'll talk to you later. Have a great weekend and a great rest of your week. Thank you so much for listening to us. It means so much to me. If there were any aha moments or anything that really resonated with you on today's episode, then please take a minute and share it on your social media and tag me so I can personally thank you. Also, if you could, please rate and review the podcast as it is new, and that really helps to get the word out there more and reach even more listeners. I'll catch you on the next episode.